Here's a hard truth to swallow. Your light doesn't always heal. Without boundaries, it becomes a magnet for the very pain others refuse to touch. I'm speaking to those who wear the empath badge like a destiny. Somewhere deep inside, you may be living by an invisible contract. I'll carry the pain you avoid, and in exchange, I get to exist. It isn't written in ink, it's written into your nervous system, in the quickened breath, when someone cries, in the fixed smile you hold when you're bone tired. Jung would call this a confusion of light and shadow. You're no longer a mirror, you've become a sponge. If your heart tightens, hearing this, it isn't guilt, it's awakening. We need a map. In simple terms for beginners, empathy is feeling another's feelings. Compassion = empathy plus boundaries. I'm with you, but I won't become you. Codependency is when rescuing others becomes the currency of your worth. HSP, highly sensitive person. Person is a sensitive nervous system, not a life sentence to carry everyone's load. In Jung's language, shadow the parts you disown. Projection, seeing your own material on someone else. Complex and emotional, not charged with memory. Individuation, the return to wholeness, where kindness grows a backbone. Why does the contract form? Often it's how a child kept the house from collapsing. They learned to read the air, to absorb unnamed emotions so the adults could breathe. Over time, the brain confuses. The room is calm after I soothe with healing happen. In truth, the storm just changed addresses into your chest. Society praises you for quieting the room, and the praise becomes sugar. The contract renews daily. But hear this clearly, no one is born to pay other people's emotional bills. Boundaries don't switch off the light. They add a lampshade so the hand that holds the torch doesn't burn. If I stop caring, am I still kind? This is where the Jungian voice invites courage. Don't obey feelings, dialogue with them. When a wave of sadness arrives, ask softly, whose sadness are you? Do you need witnessing or shelter? That's the first thread that loosens the spell. If you were raised in a lineage of silence where service was survival, know that the guilt you feel isn't only personal, it bears the family name. We will learn to honor without repeating. Set a bowl of water, write a letter, speak a wise ending. From the outset, here's what I promise you in this series. A clean line between healthy empathy and rescuer bonding. 4 Jungian keywords: shadow projection, complex, individuation translated into everyday life. A red flag list for when to seek professional help: prolonged insomnia, panic spikes, violence, major depression, self-harm thoughts. A body-based dashboard that tells you when your emotional gate is too far open. A gentle 7-day path to saying no without self-condemnation. I won't promise miracles. I will offer practice. Because true light doesn't crave applause, it self-regulates, so it can burn long. If you're still here, a deep part of you just nodded. Slow your breath, place a hand on your chest, and picture yourself as a lighthouse with a kind, sturdy seawall. In the next chapter, we'll open 5 doors: the childhood roots of the contract, how it feeds itself, the shadow of ancestry, small rituals to cut the threads, and finally, how to reclaim your sovereignty without losing your heart. We won't dim your light. We'll teach it how to find its home. Let's return to the first room where a contract was drafted and no one held a pen. Maybe it was a quiet American kitchen after dinner. Mother silent, father absent, the fridge droning like a reminder. Maybe it was a small suburban apartment where the adults spoke more with their eyes than their words. Everything fine until it wasn't. The most finely tuned child in the house began to read the air. They discovered, if I absorb the surplus feeling in this room, everyone can breathe. So they stretched their invisible body into a filter. No signatures, just a heart rate spiking when a grown-up cried, shoulders hardening during arguments, a practiced smile to silence alarms. And that's where the contract was born. I'll carry what I didn't create so the family won't break. Because the family didn't break, at least on the surface, the child felt chosen, not realizing they had traded their right to be a child for the role of tiny savior. In Jung's language, this is the moment light gets shadowed. The child doesn't become a mirror, they become a sponge, so saturated they can't tell where their own waters begin. As an adult, they walk into classrooms, churches, companies, and romances with an unconscious skill cleaning the room's emotions. When colleagues fight, they stand in the middle. When a partner collapses, they hold up the whole sky. When the community calls, they're first to sign up and the last to leave. People praise them. You're so kind. You make us feel at peace. Praise becomes sugar lining the nerves. The inner child whispers, see, I exist because I make them lighter. But this peace is displacement. The storm doesn't end. It just changes address to your chest. So you a busy, clear-eyed American, don't get lost in concepts. Let's draw clean lines. Empathy is feeling with. Compassion is empathy plus boundary. I'm with you without becoming you. Codependency is when saving others becomes how you prove you deserve love. If I don't carry it, I'm not worthy. A highly sensitive person, HSP, has a refined nervous system like a powerful microphone, but being HSP doesn't require signing the carrying contract. In Jung's map, the shadow holds what you were trained to refuse in anger, fatigue, desire, selfishness. Projection is seeing your disowned parts on others. A complex is an affect-charged knot of memory that flips on like a switch. Individuation is the return to wholeness, goodness, with a backbone. If you want to see it in everyday life, Emily, a marketing lead in Seattle, keeps taking small tasks from other teams because they're overloaded. Profits rise, her boss praises her, but each morning she wakes with a scorched throat, random headaches, and a fog between her and what she used to love. Daniel, a church volunteer, believes love your neighbor as yourself means subtract yourself. He listens for hours, swallowing hard stories as a kind of prayer. Nights are sleepless dreams full of a tank that leaks and never fills. Anna, eldest in an immigrant family, became the emotional pillar when her mother fell ill. She chose a caring profession and partners who needed saving. She thought it was a calling. In truth, it was childhood rehearsal society pinned a medal on. Beneath these stories runs a precise mechanism. Your anger and your wanting got pushed to the basement and turned into shadow. As Jung says, what you refuse to know returns as fate. You don't dare say no, so your body says it for you, stiff neck. Blood sugar swings insomnia. You don't dare make a request, so your voice blurs in important meetings. You don't dare receive, so people accidentally load more onto your hands. No one's plotting to use you. They simply learn fast who can hold the most. Ironically, your warmth light that softens the room broadcasts a hidden signal. This is the place to put the weight. They get lighter, you get heavier. The system looks stable. The contract renews. Right where you feel the pushback. If I stop caring, am I still kind? Jung's voice invites a small, revolutionary ritual. Don't obey feelings. Dialogue with them. When a wave of sadness rises at work in the kitchen on the interstate, don't fling the gates open. Ask, whose sadness are you? Do you need witnessing, or do you want me to hold you? That one question pauses the old spell. Everything is my responsibility. Love never asks you to disappear. Boundaries don't kill the light. They're the lampshade that keeps the flame from burning the one who holds it. To make this useful, add 3 tiles. First, body signs. When your emotional gate is too open, jaw clenches at a phone buzz. Breath shortens at a can we talk text. Chest grows heavy when your calendar has an empty slot and you immediately want to fill it with someone else's work. Second, when to seek professional help. Long panic spells, depression, domestic violence, thoughts of self-harm, call a clinician, therapist, or crisis line. Jungian work doesn't replace clinical care. It gives the soul's symbolic language a seat at the table. Third, an image test. Compassion stands beside you with a hand on your shoulder. A shadow contracts, scoops you up, tries to run for you, and collapses. A micro practice for today: write the exact sentence of a contract you often sign. If I always pick up at midnight, you won't leave me. Or if I do the entire team's work, they'll see I belong. Then add one line of revision: I'll be with you within my limits, and my worth is not purchased by burnout. If guilt surges, that's just the old ritual calling. Hand to chest, inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 7. No theatrics, just honesty. See it in familiar American scenes. In the open plan office, you've become the deadline fixer, because sure I can. In your friend group, you're the listener to every drama, and when it's your turn, the topic drifts away. In church or at the nonprofit, you take extra shifts, though your family misses you on weekends. In dating, you call it maturity to always understand their pain story and therefore mute your small, rightful needs. All 4 share one refrain: I'll take it so they can feel lighter. All 4 need a new line: I'll stand with not instead of. This channel isn't a complaint room, it's a practice ground. In the comments, post one contract sentence and your edited version. Anonymity is fine, honesty is required. We don't repair with judgment. We repair by looking straight at the thing. You'll be surprised how many people are speaking the same old vow in 1,000 variations. Before we close part one bridge to part two, how the contract feeds itself. It doesn't just form, it gets rewarded. Each time you clean a room's emotions, the space goes quiet and people praise you. The brain notes good. Repeat. But that quiet is only the storm moving zip codes. In the next part, we'll peel the labels off reward and punishment, how praise becomes a drug, how guilt tethers you back, how dreams the unconscious's cargo ships dock at your bed each night with an ultimatum. Cancel the contract or burn out. You don't need fear, you need light. And light with good banks always finds its way home. If this touched, you don't leave yet. What you just felt is the first mark of freedom awareness. In part two, we'll map the reinforcement loop, expose the nice strategies that just skirt the shadow, and see how our culture's praise and shame grammar quietly turns goodness into duty. Stay not to endure more, but to dissolve a spell that's run too long. Look slowly and you'll see the contract runs not only on fear, but on rewards. Every time you clear the emotional air in a room on Zoom, in the kitchen, at church, in your friend group, the space softens, people exhale, and something sweet arrives. Praise, visible relief, the quiet nod that says, without you, we'd have fallen apart. Your brain records that social sugar as a shortcut. So when the next alarm rings, your hand is already on the doorknob before the conscious mind can ask, do I have the capacity? Jung might say the shadow has learned to wear a moral crown. It sounds noble, but underneath it renews an old covenant. I'll hurt in your place so I can still belong here. There's a core illusion inside this loop. Instant calm equals healing. But it's only relocation. The room goes quiet because the feelings moved into your lungs. The group is relieved, the individual is overloaded. Systems often applaud the carrier because the visible outcome is everything's fine. Compliments become candy, a kind of social dopamine, and you get hooked on being useful until you can't feel whether you're truly alive. When you're too tired and step back, guilt hunts your heels, if not you, and you return because the group needs it, because the contract needs it, not because your free heart chose it. Shine a light on a few very American scenes in an Austin startup. Jonah is the silent firefighter. Slack flares and he appears. He can't remember the last time he turned notifications off before 10 p.m. KPIs rise, the CEO calls him a rock. But his wife says he curls his hands as if typing in his sleep. In a Chicago parent group, Brianna organizes meal trains, rides, and fundraisers. Sick in bed, she still coordinates because someone has to. The heart reactions on Facebook are candy drops. Yet when she needs a ride for her kid's appointment, the group is suddenly busy. In a small Vermont parish, Deacon Mike hears confessions after hours believing other people's silence proves his holiness. At night, he dreams of sealed rooms. He pumps his breath into them so others can breathe while he turns blue. The loop is subtler still. It hijacks spiritual bypass, the nice detours. Meditation, prayer service, forgiveness are wholesome until they're used to dodge anger, needs, and boundaries. Then they become a white sheet thrown over a leaking tank. I'm not angry, I understand, and sleep breaks. I forgive everything and your blood pressure climbs. It isn't punishment, it's the invoice. The body is an honest accountant for lopsided moral contracts. Jung reminds us what we don't make conscious appears outside as fate. Refuse your own anger, and you become a magnet for those who need a dumping ground. Not everyone is toxic. Many are simply hurt, but energetically you've hung an invisible sign. All deliveries accepted here. Of course, the crowd comes to your counter first. If your throat tightens, reading this, take it as a good sign. You're turning away from the seduction of being needed and toward the truth of being alive. Dreams are where the unconscious negotiates cleanly. When the loop tightens, people often dream of vines coiling the chassis of faceless people or nursing a thirsty snake. These aren't curses. They're warning letters: end the contract or collapse. Don't panic. Treat them like emails from soul operations. They're not judging you, they're reminding you of load limits. To make this chapter practical, here are 5 clear pieces. 1. The reward-guilt diagram of the contract. Reward, the room calms. Praise, good person, identity pillar status. Guilt, exhaustion. Shame, without me, they'll suffer. Result, behavior repeats against the body's truth. 2. A quick body-mind dashboard score it now. 0, 10. Sleep quality, morning energy. Number of silent resentments this week, time since your last clean. No minutes needed to come down after a heavy call. Track 7 days, you'll see the loops graph. 3, a 4-question algorithm before opening the emotional gate. Is this pain actually mine? What role fits me? Witness, small practical help, or call a professional? What are my time/energy limits today? After helping, how will I restore myself? Walk, warm shower, 3-line right. Or when to add clinical support, recurring panic depression, domestic violence, self-harm, thoughts, substance misuse, contact a doctor/therapist, helpline, where you live. Symbolic language helps us understand. Safety and treatment ask for trained teams. 5, minimalist dream work. Write 3 striking details. Object, feeling action, plus 1 small day, act that walks with the dream. G, vines, cut 10% of a non-essential commitment. Now drop these pieces into ordinary life so the loop's path becomes visible. In the Monday meeting, when your mouth is about to say, I'll take more, pause for 3 breaths and ask, what's my true role here? If the answer is 30 minutes of consulting, don't carry 30 hours. At family dinner, when a relative storms try, I'm here for 15 focused minutes, then let's continue tomorrow. I need rest tonight. With friends, when talk slides into a marathon of venting invite, let's pivot. 5 minutes each on solutions. Cool. You'll tremble. Trembling is normal. That's the old chain loosening. Let this community be your new resting place. In the comments, name one situation where the sweet path of praise pulled you back in 1 sentence you'll say differently next time. If a recent dream brought a house, water, vines, or a crowd, share 1 image. You'll be surprised how private stories beat with the same drum, the need to stay with yourself without being called bad. There's one more bend in the loop. Anger. Many empaths think anger is a sin. In Jung's canvas, anger is a moving boundary. Treat it as the gatekeeper, not the monster. Next time a message pings, can you talk now, and your belly tightens, don't paste a smile over it. Let the gatekeeper speak. Right now isn't safe for me. In 20 minutes I can talk, and I have 10 minutes. At first you'll feel cold. In truth, you are warm to yourself for the first time in years. You may ask, if I change, will the group lose me? Yes, the old version of you will disappear, and with it, relationships that survived on your exhaustion. That's sad and right. This is the birth price of real presence. When the fog lifts, you'll see who remains. People who don't need you as an oxygen tank. They need you as a lamp with edges. Then relationship stops being one-way transport of emotion and becomes a nourishing exchange. Before we turn to part 3, ancestral shadow, the quiet codes of family virtue stamped into the nervous system hold an image, a control panel with 2 glowing buttons. One says being needed, the other says being alive. The old loop keeps flashing the first so pretty. Your practice is to turn the second one slowly, small, steady, faithful. In the next chapter, we'll speak with the old voices in the blood, not to blame, but to retire vows that have expired. If you're ready, I'll wait at the threshold with a bowl of water and a few gentle questions for a door that's been closed a long, long time. Close your eyes and listen for a faint sound like old paper rustling. It may not be your voice alone. In Jung's language, beneath personal memory runs the collective underground, where archetypal images live like quiet gods. Down there, the empath's dark contract is rarely just yesterday's story. It's an ancestral vow. We will stay silent and serve so the tribe survives. A grandmother who muscled through the Great Depression. A great-grandfather carving a frontier. An immigrant family paying debts in sweat. A depressed mother who taught with her eyes that household peace matters more than a child's tears. These aren't orders to become a historian. They invite you to name a force field: ancestral loyalty. When loyalty stays unnamed, it hardens into neural habits. Automatic rescues, room-softening smiles while your own heart grows hollow. Imagine an emotional family tree. Not boxes and dates, but roles: the glory bearer, the shame carrier, the healer, the pillar, the invisible one. In many American families, especially where work ethic feels like religion, good at enduring becomes a kind of currency. In immigrant homes, don't be a bother is an invisible passport. In the polite South, manners can be a silk glove over a hand toughened by grief. These are cultural assets. The mistake is turning them into fate. Every asset throws a shadow. Endurance slips into resignation, politeness into paralysis, filial piety into self-erasure. 3 portraits. New Jersey Carla's great-grandmother was a wartime nurse whose black and white photo smiles under dark circles. Carla grows up being "we are strong women," becomes a nurse and dates people she can save. Each time she wants a vacation, an invisible goddess whispers, "Our women don't abandon patients." She doesn't know it's the ancestral shadow calling. Texas Mateo, raised in a Mexican-American family where real men shoulder every bill and save tears for later, becomes the wall for everyone. When his wife asks if he's tired, he laughs. Tired is for other people, then nods off in his car and dreams of a religious procession, a statue twice his weight on his shoulders. Minnesota Aisha, daughter of refugees, learns the family name goes before any personal need. She's brilliant at public diplomacy, but inside the family, she's the bridge that never closes. Every time she rescues, a nameless bell rings. You've protected the family's honor. Jung would say lineage complexes act like little sub-egos. When triggered, they take the role and you re-sign old contracts without checking the expiration date. You call it virtue. Your body, the honest bookkeeper, files a debt. Insomnia, tight chest, a fatigue like stones under a river. When dreams carry ancestral figures, a grandmother crying in the kitchen, a grandfather scolding on the porch, a procession growing heavier. This isn't a verdict. It's an invitation to negotiate. The collective unconscious arrives like a council of elders to ask, how long do you want to carry this statue? You may fear that laying it down is betrayal, but the Jung tone whispers honoring is not repeating. Try a new image. Instead of the family's oxygen tank, become a lamp with an edge. A lamp honors darkness by giving it a safe rim to appear and be seen. Begin by naming the silent vow. Every family has a mantra. We don't complain. We never upset anyone. We carry each other's burdens. Write it down verbatim if you can, then add a line, "I honor our source, and I will not let the vow exhaust our children." Make a 20-minute emotional genogram. No software, just paper. Sketch 3 generations if you can. Beside each name note, the emotional role pillar, substitute, invisible, explosive key events, migration, bankruptcy, war, illness, and house rules. Cry, don't cry. Men don't show weakness. Women must always understand. Then ask, whose role am I playing? Which vow did I sign without reading? Don't fix, just see. Seeing is half the release. Now a wise right, not superstition, a symbolic language for speaking to depth. Set a clean bowl of water, a slip of paper, a candle. Write to the ancestor who best symbolizes the vow, a real name or an image, the bearing woman, the pillar man. I honor your endurance. Because of you I am here. But today I return the burden that isn't mine. I will carry my part with an open heart and clear edges. Drip a few drops of water to the ground. Burn the old sentence. Keep the new one in your notebook. You are not erasing history. You are ending an expired contract. Watch how this works in daily life. At work, when you smooth conflict between 2 teams, I say, ask, am I protecting the family name or doing the job I was hired to do? If it's the first, step back and propose a plan with a clear owner. In families, when someone calls at midnight to ask you to keep a serious secret, the old vow, we handle it in-house, presses you into silence. But the new kindness sounds like, I love us and I'll walk with you. And this needs a pro. Tomorrow we call a doctor or a lawyer/hotline. In love, when your partner's unconscious tests you, if you love me, you'd endure a little more. Remember, love isn't a traditional prison. You can hold them and say, I'm here and I won't eat your pain for you. I'll stand with you, not instead of you. Beware the subtle temptation. When you get stronger, the savior archetype puts on a fresh robe. I've healed so I can heal everyone. This is where you need structured humility. Use the convection test. Does this exchange nourish us both, or does it tilt toward burnout? If it tilts, pause, breathe, and name the ancestor voice. This is Grandma who wanted to save the whole village. Thank you. Today I saved my part. It may sound odd. It's how you sort the inner voices so you're not led by them. Now invite the animus, the principle of clarity, to sit as inner counsel. Picture a plain wooden table, warm lamp, blank page. Before any major decision, ask 3 questions. 1. Is this true to me? 2. Is it fair to everyone, including me? 3. Can I say it in one clean sentence without justification? If you can't speak it simply, a boundary is fogged by words. The animus doesn't wield a sword to wound. He draws the line. See the animus at work. Love, Denver. Alex dates someone always busy. Every plan meets a new catastrophe. At the council table, true Alex wants consistency. Fair Alex has overgiven. One sentence, I want a weekly date. If that doesn't work, I'll stop. Text sent. Long silence then. Peace. The silence isn't punishment. It's room for a new story. Work Bay Area. Priya, a PM buried in meetings, tries a week of sacred yes, sacred no. Every yes creates clear value and a time frame. Every no is early polite, no courtroom speech. Week 1 messy, week 2 teammates prepare better. Week 3 vague invites vanish. Priya doesn't go cold, she goes clear. Family San Antonio. Elena. The family bridge starts a closing ritual. After 90 minutes, she leaves early. Texting, I'm wrapping here. Love you all. See you next time. Someone jokes, princess. She smiles hand to heart. I belong to myself. Months later, others shift. One starts therapy. Another swaps dish duty. Change the structure and the ecosystem relearns you. Dream work, minimal and real. 3 frequent dreams. Falling ego loosens its grip and trusts real gravity. Being chased, the shadow wants to return energy you locked away. Naked on stage, persona cracks. Who am I without the performance? Work with reads. Remember, no phone. Whisper 1-2 images. Emotion, name the main feeling. And association. 3 raw associations, dynamic, what's moving. Step 1, small, 24-hour act that honors the symbol. Dreams come alive not by the right interpretation, but by turning images into gestures. Chicago, a young manager dreams of a falling elevator. By week's end, she gives her team 3 uninterrupted minutes to propose, then dreams of taking the stairs still descending, now in rhythm. Miami, a mother dreams, waves bringing back seaweed and toys. She schedules a 20-minute swim and tells her child, I need 10 minutes for me. I'll be right back. A month later, a calm surface and 1 float. Descent's most dangerous enemy is hurry. Give it lamps so you don't get lost. Lamp 1, slow walk at a human speed. Not the feeds. Look at 1 real thing before your phone. Count 5 quiet breaths. Take a 7-minute aimless walk so your nervous system remembers ground. Lamp 2, symbol. Don't rush to solve a dream, relate in dialogue. Ask 3 simple questions in active imagination. Who are you and me? What do you want from me? What must I do to honor you without losing myself? Lamp 3, holding. Don't do catabasis alone. Choose another adult in the room, a licensed clinician, a seasoned guide, or a small dream circle, and share in plain speech. In the quick tempo of American life descent, sometimes happens right at your desk. A misunderstood email, blood surges, vision tunnels. You want to disappear. Give yourself 90 seconds down. Look out a window. Find 1 real thing. Plant your feet, lengthen the exhale, whisper, I'm in the safe basement now. After 90 seconds, you're not over it, but you've got an edge to stand on. Safety note, if there's control, threat, stalking, no one gets to use your safety as a moral lesson. Choose what protects your life, your kids, your papers. Ask local experts for exit plans. Couples therapy can be unsafe in abusive dynamics. We don't redeem violence with poetry. We save ourselves with reality. Community invitation, share 1 house rule you grew up with in its adult upgrade. We don't bother anyone. We ask for help at the right time. Add a dream image if you have one, a heavy palanquin, an empty church, a bowl of water spilling. This isn't a court, it's a good cemetery for memory where we bury old vows and plant new agreements. From here, the bridge to part 4 is natural, if part 3 acknowledges ancestral roots. Part 4 offers the gentle scissors dialogue with emotions, call back exiled parts. Work with the animus for clear speech. Write context-specific boundary scripts and plant small rites so the soul knows the new season has come. We're not defeating anyone. We're giving light, a shoreline kindness, a spine, and love, a structure that doesn't burn out as torchbearer. Bring your emotional genogram, a bowl of water, and a ribbon, the friendly anchors for a boat leaving the river of the ancestors to sail your own sea. It's time to put your hands on the real threads. Not theory anymore, practice soft but definitive. In Jung's key, you don't fight the darkness. You speak to it in the language the unconscious understands: image, breath, small ritual, and words with shores. Picture yourself at a riverbank. The old life is the swift water. The new life is the mooring. Everything below is one purpose: build riverbanks so the river can keep singing without sweeping you away. 1. The emotional gate. 1 minute that breaks the old contract. When a wave of sadness, anger, or someone else's spiritual debt rushes in, don't throw the gate wide. Pause for 3 breaths. Ask 4 questions. Is this pain actually mine? Today, am I a witness, a task helper, or the one who calls a professional? What are my time and energy limits? How will I recover afterward? Hand to chest, repeat a new password. I stand with, not instead of. You'll be surprised how much that looked urgent, only needed 10 minutes of listening and a decent appointment for tomorrow. 2. Active imagination, Jung's doorway. Silence the phone. Sit tall, eyes soft. Invite an image to step into scheduling. Queen, a quiet engineer measuring load, a teacher at a whiteboard, your animus. The inner principle of orientation. Ask him, when do I sign old contracts? What sentence do you want me to speak today? Write it down unedited. Don't chase the perfect line. Choose the true line. Not tonight. 15 minutes only. That needs a doctor, not me. Words you once feared would feel cold become warm when they rest on goodwill, like fresh stone on a riverbank. 3. Clean boundary scripts. Short. No justification. Work. I can consult for 30 minutes. Implementation goes next week with a clear owner. Friends, I can listen for 10. Then I need to recharge. Family, I love you and this is bigger than me. Tomorrow, I'll drive you to see a clinician. Love, I'll be with you, but I won't carry your pain for you. I trust your strength. Community/faith. I take the morning shift. Evenings are for family. If someone asks, why smile? Because that's my capacity today. Not an excuse, reality from a soul with borders. 4. Aftercare, the part most people forget. After a boundary, guilt often returns like echo waves. Don't argue with it. Regulate your nervous system. 10-minute outdoor walk. Warm water. A brief hot shower. Then 3 lines. What did I protect? What am I still afraid of? What am I grateful for? If sleep is hard, hand on belly and breathe. 4-4-7. Inhale, 4. Hold, 4. Exhale, 7. Teach your body that safe no longer means disappear. 5. Capacity ledger, no more emotional overdraft. Each morning rate 0 to 10 for sleep, energy, willingness to listen. Preset the day's emotional budget. 1 heavy call, 15 min. 1 support task, 30 min. When the budget is gone, don't overdraft. Stopping on time isn't selfish. It's how all sustainable architecture stands. 6. A small ritual to tell the unconscious the contract has changed. Gather a bowl of water, a ribbon, a slip of paper. On the paper, write the old contract you keep signing. If I'm always there for them, they'll keep me. Beneath it, write the new one. I show up within my shores and love does not require my exhaustion. Fold the old, then safely burn it or tear and drop it into the bowl. Slow conscious. Tie the ribbon around your wrist. I'm in a new season. Drip a few drops on a soil or a plant, honor, not repeat. Not magic, just helping the unconscious hear the terms have changed. 7 dreams equals mail from the unconscious. Each morning note, 3 things, 1 image, 1 feeling, 1 action. Pair each dream with a tiny daylight. Act vines constricting. Cut 10% from a commitment. Locked room. Schedule a 30-minute no calendar block. Overflowing bowl. Turn off notifications at 2 p.m. Repeated small acts teach the mind a new vocabulary. Kind safety. 8. American daily proofs. This lives in ordinary life. San Diego, a single mom. Long the family's emotional nanny. Posts her emotional budget on the fridge. 2 listening windows. 2 minutes each announced ahead. The kids come prepared. Grandma, the chronic crier, agrees to share load with church care. Brooklyn, a designer sets an 8:30 p.m. alert. Breathe. Hands off. Slack off. Friends tease him for being old. He laughs. I want health at 70. Denver, a couple repeats a mantra before hard talks. We stand with not instead of. 9. 4 field rules context map. Work prioritize role task time. Family prioritize clinical safety. Call help when needed. Love prioritize gentle truth. Community prioritize sustainability. Emergency opener. When someone texts help, start with, are you physically safe right now? If not, call 911, the crisis line. If safe, I can be with you for either 10 minutes and help list 2 next steps. Post-collision reset. Your body is not a holy trash can. After heavy exchanges, do a tiny right with a beginning and an end walk from front door to backyard, a slow hand wash. Change your shirt. Deflate the savior ego. Weekly convection test. Am I helping to be needed? Tell one trusted friend the honest answer. 10 community a scaffold. In the comments, share one boundary sentence you'll use this week and one ritual you'll try water ribbon walk. If you're shy, just write new season. We'll understand. 11. The door to the part 5. When the gate has a keeper, when your words stand upright, when dreams are heard, you don't just survive without collapse. You blossom. Old relationships self-adjust. People who used you as an oxygen tank will learn to breathe. You become a lighthouse that doesn't leak. Next, we'll explore the shape of this light, choosing relationships by reciprocity, clarity at work when you don't do things for others, and the return of creativity when energy stops being siphoned. If your heartbeat just softened a little, that's a good sign the riverbanks are catching earth. When the levee is finally built, the river stops roaring. What arrives isn't a loud victory, but a quiet reform of daily life. Your body remembers its original rhythm. You inhale without trying to lift the sky and exhale without losing yourself. From here, empathy is no longer dissolving into others. It becomes an anchored presence like a lamp on a stone base that sends light outward without burning the hand that holds it. Jung would call this a movement toward wholeness when parts that used to quarrel instinct and reason gentleness, in boundary tradition and freedom, sit at the same table and raise a glass to one another. You'll feel the shift in very ordinary signals. In the morning, your phone's chime no longer detonates like an alarm. Your mind stops sprinting ahead of your heart. In a meeting, your voice sounds clear and warm. I can advise for 30 minutes. Team B should own implementation. After school, your child shares a hard moment. You don't turn into a bottomless well. You rest a hand on their shoulder. I'm here. Let's name the feeling and take one small step. That night, a friend sends a wall of texts. You don't call instantly from fear of losing them. You write, I've read it and I care. I'm free at 9 p.m. for a 10-minute call to find 2 concrete actions. The talk is brief but deep. Tomorrow they schedule therapy on their own. You're no longer an oxygen tank. You're a mirror with a frame. Symbolically, this is when your inner archetypes shift from puppeteers to collaborators. The queen, your capacity to set boundaries and keep inner order, takes the throne without the armor of control. The warrior, your clean, life-protecting anger, becomes a clear line on the map instead of a roar. The lover, vitality, desire, intimacy returns without performing rescues. The magician's creator, imagination, and meaning opens rooms you thought were sealed forever. People often tell me their dreams change color. A leaking tank becomes a river with banks. A dark storeroom opens a window. A heavy procession turns into a light festival where everyone carries their own part. In the US, you'll notice sovereignty switched on across 3 arenas. First work, you're no longer rewarded for endurance, but for generative power. Once you stop splitting yourself into 10 people, you do one thing very well. A Brooklyn designer hears from an old client, your portfolio suddenly glows. What changed? He smiles. I returned the contracts that weren't mine. Second love energy, once poured into firefighting, now flows into connection. You stop chasing, please need me, and sit steady in. I want us to see each other. Your circle shifts, not because you are pickier, but because your field has changed. People who rely on the one carries one, leans model quietly drift away. Third, community, you still help, but as a puzzle piece, right place, right time, so the whole picture strengthens. Your durability generates the group's durability, not the other way around. Of course, the world will test your new vow. A crisis sprints down the timeline. Someone texts help. Your old gut wants to leap. In that moment, do a small practice. I love one hand on belly, one on heart. Ask softly, what's my part? What's their part? What belongs to community/profession? Then choose one short action, call 911. If safety is at risk, offer a framed 10-minute check-in or send the exact resource and stop. The stopping will tremble at first. Don't mistake trembling for wrong. It's just your nervous system learning a new language. Let's ground this arc with a 30, 60, 90-day path. First 30 days track 4 dials. Sleep quality number of no's, you said, while staying connected. Recovery time after a heavy interaction and frequency of natural smiles. Next 60, add 2 dials. How often you initiate instead of being pulled, and daily minutes of creativity, writing, drawing, planting. At 90, review your relationship circle. Who's reciprocal, who's one-way flow. You don't need to cut like chopping trees. Sometimes you just change container size, meeting rhythm, or the kind of talk you bring to the middle. Mature sovereignty is the art of regulating flow, not summoning storms. You'll also need a drawer for social sadness, the cost of growing up. Some will call you cold because you're no longer reachable at midnight. Others will hint, you used to be different. Let that sentence pass like wind. Back then is the version that helped you survive. Now is the version that helps you live. If guilt tugs try a small write their name on paper, 3 things you truly appreciate in one honest line. I return your part to you. Fold it, place it in a box on a shelf. You're not slamming a door, you're shelving in the right place. Sovereignty does not isolate you. It makes connection easier. A nurse in New Jersey used to cry with patients every night. Now she walks 12 minutes after her shift in the parking lot, breathing 4-4-7, leaving the tears outside so she can bring clarity home. Result, she isn't numb, she's bright. In Oregon, a father who never dared say enough takes the time off he actually earned and goes camping with his kid. By the fire, the child whispers, I feel you're really here. In Atlanta, an artist who spent her energy putting out friends' fires now commits to 45 minutes of morning creation before 10 a.m. and unexpectedly sells her first painting. Watch for evening clouds, early relapse warnings. You switch notifications back on at midnight and stare at the 3 bouncing dots. You romanticize the past and erase the silent days. You shave your boundary just to keep the peace, then shave a little more. You call yourself too picky. You quietly disconnect from friends to hide confusion. When a cloud passes over, don't condemn. Name it and return to your ritual. A 4-6 breath, a short walk, 3 lines of journaling. Integration isn't a straight line. It's an ebb and flow tide that feeds the shore. How do you carry this bright boundary into everyday American life? At the Costco checkout, someone urges you to hurry. Do you smile and keep your rhythm? At elementary school pickup, a parent throws a jab. Do you inhale and choose silence or answer with even tone on Zoom? A coworker cuts in. Can you say, let me finish this thought in a level voice? Integration is breathing your boundary into everyday sentences, so truth has room in the air. If you're ready to open your heart, there's also a dating threshold. Not a perfect formula, but a 30-60-90 rhythm that keeps your nervous system from being pulled back into the whirlpool. First 30 days, go slow, meet regularly but not excessively. Track the match between words and actions, and note your body after each date. Green, yellow, red. Keep your life intact. Friends, habits, sleep. Next to 60, name one small boundary and watch the response. Do they respect it or debate to win? Allow one small disagreement, not drama, just to see how you handle difference. At 90, share a tender piece, not your life secrets, just a truth close to the heart. And observe, do they cradle it or use it as leverage? You're not a judge. You're the kind gatekeeper of your soul. A split screen from real life. In San Diego, Hannah, 35, enjoys a new date, kind, punctual, attentive. Her stomach still flutters when texts arrive slowly. Instead of rushing into an embrace, she places a hand over her heart. Slow is a rhythm too. She keeps Saturdays for friends. He agrees, then asks to cook at her place next week. She smiles, thanks him, and says next week. No crescendo, no vows, just a steady tempo. Across the map, Eli, 29, gets a message from an ex. I've changed. He breathes, remembers, watch the rhythm, not the oath, and replies, peace to you. Keep going with therapy. I'll keep my distance. He isn't a saint, he's choosing a shore. Bring repair into sovereignty too. Boundaries don't prevent every rupture. What's the difference between a break that can be repaired and abuse you must leave? A repairable break still has a place to meet. Try 3 steps. When behavior, I feel emotion and I need clear request. Next time. For example, when you went silent for 3 days, I felt anxious. I need a reply within 24 hours, even if it's just to schedule when we'll talk. If they can hear you apologize and change behavior, the soil is good. If they blur lines, blame, or repeat the pattern, remember the red, yellow, green map. We don't label people, we study patterns. A last gentle nudge keep the house of your life in rhythm. On Sundays, bike the park with no step counter, no calorie target. The unconscious hears, I'm not only useful, I'm alive. And if you need one small boundary prayer for the week, write it down and keep it close. I will return others' work to them and keep mine with a steady hand. Place your hand on your chest for a moment. You might hear a rhythm that has quietly changed. Not loud, not showy, more like when the surface wind dies down and the river finally reveals its shoreline. We have walked together from the room where a shadow contract was once signed in a child's breath, through the loop of instant peace and the sweet sugar of praise down into the vows of the ancestors and back up again to rebuild the banks with small, durable tools, honest dialogue with feelings, boundary scripts, gentle rituals, dream work, in a simple emotional budget notebook. At this threshold, hear a new line in Jung's voice. Empathy is fire, not fuel. Love is a harbor, not a tow rope. Your light has a shoreline, which is why it can stay. Along the way, we set down a few illusions that caring everyone is a measure of virtue, that instant calm equals true healing, that guilt is always the voice of conscience. Often it's just old fear in sacred clothing. We learn to see anger not as a culprit, but as a gatekeeper, and dreams as serious mail from the unconscious. Most of all, you began to tell the difference between being needed and being alive. That distinction doesn't turn you to stone. It returns the warm blood of a person who is actually here. I don't want a finale of applause. I want a small prayer close enough to remember, clear enough to use. Read softly with me. I honor those who helped me show up. I return the burdens that are not mine. I stand with not instead of. My light has a shoreline. My love includes me. Don't chase the right feeling right away. Old neural paths will tremble. Trembling is just the language of change while it is still young. To keep this closing from evaporating like mist, take a tiny 7-day bridge from understanding to living. Day 1, write the contract you often sign, then write a new line beneath it. Post it where you'll see it. Day 2, say one clean short, no justification. Record how you feel after +1 simple self-care. Day 3, 10 minutes of dialogue with the animus or inner teacher. Ask for one boundary sentence for the week. Day 4, a water right drip, a few drops to the ground or a plant, and whisper, honor, do not repeat. Day 5, dream work. Capture 3 details and choose one small action that walks with the dream. Day 6, check circulation. Pick one relationship and ask, does the energy recirculate? Adjust gently if needed. Day 7, write yourself a thank you letter for one very small step. Place it in a box to read tomorrow. To make the closing rich and memorable, set 4 anchors. 1, a set of context-based script cards work. Family, love, community, you can build in your phone's notes. 2, your personal body signal map. Where does the gate swing too wide? Jaw, shoulders, neck, stomach. 3, a compact 30, 60, 90-day calendar with 4 metrics. Sleep quality. Number of no's said while still feeling connected. Recovery time after heavy interactions. Frequency of spontaneous laughter. 4, a weekly list of savior ego inflation signals. Am I helping to be needed? Add one private anchor phrase under 7 words. G. Light has a shoreline. Stand with not. Instead of honor, do not repeat. A light CTA not to collect views, but to gather those who are truly changing. Comment 2 lines. Line 1 is your old contract, anonymized if you like. Line 2 is the new line you'll try for the next 7 days. If a dream image is changing color, a pond with edges, a room whose door opens a compact festival, add 1 keyword. As you write, someone in another city may feel half as lonely. If this touched you, subscribe and tap the bell. Each week we'll deepen one-piece dialogue with the animus for a voice that is clear and warm. Literal boundary scripts for real context. 5-minute fast dream work. Emotional budgets for parents' healthcare education. And decoding the Fisher-King myth to tend the dynastic wound. Subscribing isn't an oath, just a standing date in a safe room where light learns to keep its shoreline. And if you want to lift the community, 1 like and 1 share to an exhausted friend is its own gentle ritual. Before goodbye, 3 lines to carry like paving stones. Light has a shoreline. Without it, the torchbearer gets burned. Stand with not instead of Healing is not relocating pain. It is returning and supporting. Honor, do not repeat. The noblest loyalty frees descendants from exhaustion. If you have a few seconds, stand by the door. Night or day, either is fine. One hand on your belly, one on your heart. Inhale for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 7. Imagine the old threads slipping away like smoke, and new threads, soft, steady, tying your light to the warm embankment of a life with a spine. Tomorrow you may still be tired. The world may still be loud. But inside, something has settled you no longer pay the tax of existence with burnout. From that calm, your kindness grows wise, durable, and beautiful, like a lighthouse standing in its right place. So each ship steers itself, and the sea is allowed to be the sea. Thank you for walking to the end of this path. Leave a short story in the comments. 3 lines is enough. Such small stories once saved me on long nights. In the next video, we'll practice shoreline language, short potent phrases, and learn to train your voice to be rock steady while your heart stays water soft. Until then, remember your empathy is a gift, not a currency. Guard it like a lamp awake, grounded and steady.